Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I'll be bringing you along on the adventure of a restoration of a Polymoog 288. So this is actually a video for Scott. So Scott, this is your unit. But it's going to bring you guys along on the adventure as well here. So today I've just been doing diagnostics. I just literally got it out of the box and just did some pre-diagnostics checks, make sure the power supply was okay, healthy enough to run, to do testing. And just kind of working my way through this unit, see what works, what doesn't work, and the things we're going to have to address. And I have to admit, this is a very unhappy Polymoog. It's got a lot of problems going on with it. Nothing that's not repairable, but it is definitely sick. But we're going to fix it up here. But first of all, when you look at this unit, you can see that it is actually very similar to a 203A as far as how it works. It's got the exact same synthesizer architecture is a 203A. So it's using actually the same synthesizer board. It's got the same HFO cards. Well, they're a little bit different, but we won't get into that. But HFO cards, dividers, and then the biggest difference between the two are these two boards right here. So this is actually all the programming. This is your program board. And then this is, of course, the fixed filters like what you find in the 203A, but a lot different configurations. And you lose the resonator. So there's no resonator section, so this board is now changed to support other functions. So these are the fixed filters. So when you're in the main output, which we're using direct, this is where you get like your Vox-Humana filter down here. This is what kind of shapes it, the tone when you're in main output, and then all the filters used for the different presets. And also it has your transistor ladder filter on it. So you do have a transistor ladder filter right here. But it's very limited. You don't have any way to control the emphasis or cutoff. Now you can sweep the cutoff with a poly pedal, but you only hear the filter in preset 9 and 10. That's it. Everything else is the presets inside, or the filters inside the other boards here. So you can kind of see they really cut back on what you could do with this unit. It's just really a preset machine, is really what it is. But it did feature Vox-Humana, and that's what really made this thing. So anytime you listen to anything Gary Newman, Pleasure Principle up, it's primarily a 280A with a 203A. He did use a 203A as well, especially in replicas. Replicas had a lot of 203A. But anyways, that's kind of how this thing works. Just want to break that down. But as you can hear that we're in preset 1. And we're missing waveforms, and the waveforms we have has their own modulation, so we're missing the modulation source. And we've even got one note that's out of tune. Got to figure that one out. I think it's a divider failing, but it's way out. Some presets don't even work, so we have some. It's selecting, so all the selector circuitry is working, but we got some issues with. You hear that one's got a bad noise in it. Same thing with that one. So we definitely got some problems. I don't know if you can hear that. It's coming through audio. It's definitely got some bad noise. So we got some keyboard circuit issues. We got some program faults for the presets. So we got some things to address in this one. And I got to figure out if the keyboard circuit issue is actually in the programming or if it's actually in the synthesizer board, because that holds part of your keyboard driver circuit as well. So we got to figure all that out. But anyways, the other thing we got to deal with, I'm going to go and turn this thing off because I don't trust it running too long, is we got some keys that are very clanky. And you can hear, that's actually what I believe we're hearing in that is actually the weights came loose. That's actually kind of uncommon to hear it like that, but we got several keys like that. That one and this one. That one there. And then this one's got a bad key bushing. You can see it sticks up higher. You can hear it actually, it's like metal against metal there. So that's key bushing, but all the key bushings are pretty shot too. But there's actually one note that actually looks like it melted. I don't know if something happened to it there, but you can see it's cracked right there. It looks like something either got laid on it or it was cleaned with something that the plastic didn't like. or something. So I will be replacing that black key there as well. But anyways, guys, I just thought you might like to see this pre-restoration here, and I'll just bring you guys along on the adventure as we continue through it. Also, Scott, I'll just show you, this is yours. Here's your serial number. So it's 1126, making the 126 unit built. And so that's pretty cool. So it's a pretty early 280A here. But you can see all the dust and crust and bugs and the kind of stuff that we'll be cleaning out of this thing as we restore it. So I'm first just starting, like I say, with just some of the repairs. And then as we get into the deeper repairs, I already know from experience what they are. I won't worry about those till after, you know, we start the restoration. But once again, the serial number is 1126, and it's kind of dusty and nice little bit. There's your output. So you got direct output, main output, and then base output. And what base output is, it's actually like a stage of a resonator, and it's just a single stage just for bass notes, and it's actually controlled right here on the front. So you do have a level and cutoff frequency. So that's what you have with the bass control there. But I'll demo all that, of course, once we get this thing working. But you just kind of see the inside of it there, and we'll get this thing all cleaned up and fixed here. But bring you guys along. So I just finished making some repairs to this thing. I found out all the faults it had for the most part. It's still got a few, but they're in the lower section, so I'm not real worried about that till I dig in lower. But basically what we had all these components here that were bad. This was all the problems with it. So it had a buffer issue, it had a logic issue, and it had one of the buffers is actually feedback negative voltage, so it was actually affecting the programming. And then we also had a problem over here with the wave shape circuit. And so repaired all that, and as you can hear, because this keyboard needs to be rebuilt, it's still kind of weird on the dynamics. But all the presets work. So anyways, you can hear how that works. So now I'm going to start actually tearing this thing down and start the actual restoration to prevent other failures like this from happening in the near future here. So anyways, just want to give you guys an update. Alright, so I'm getting into the keyboard rebuild here, and I'm just going to show you the process a little bit here, what I do. So I'm getting ready to strip this keyboard down. You can see I've already removed all the white keys, and going to remove all the black keys and clean this thing up really good, and just give it a good inspection. We got a little rust in it, not bad, just some little surface rust. So I'll be actually sanding that out, and then I'll use some phosphoric acid to kill it, and then I actually repaint it. Now when these things are really bad rusty, the best thing I can do is I just strip everything off the keyboard assembly, sandblast it, and then repaint it. But in this case it's not that bad, it's just little spots. So phosphoric acid will kill it, and I can treat it, and you'll never have another problem with that again. But new key bushings will be going on as well. You can see here's the old key bushings. We've got one that's actually rotten and falling off. So that was the key that was on level. But you can just kind of see how the key bushings look there, and they're rotten. They're kind of stiff, and they're just no good. One thing I did run into this particular keyboard though that is very interesting is that, as you heard earlier, some of these keys rattle. Like that, like you can hear that rattle inside the key. And what that is I mentioned this, but you've got a weight that's glued inside the key. You can see the glue down inside the keycap there. You got a front weight as well. But here's the weight. So what would happen is this weight would just drop down in there and glue in place, like so. And then it would just be mounted to the actual key piece here. Well, what's missing on this particular Polymoog, and I've never seen this, is that they usually use like a poster tape, and they actually put it on top of the key right here, and that helps to dampen the sound if this weight does come loose. but it also helps just kind of sandwich that weight in there even better, and keeps it from having a any kind of vibration that could pull it loose in the first place. So I'm talking about, I actually went to my donor box and I've taken this key apart, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. See that tape that sits on top? And that's part of what dampens that sound, but also helps hold that weight in place. But there's your weights in this key here that are still glued in place. So just kind of interesting. I just thought you guys might find that little piece interesting. I know I did. So I don't know if Moog just ran out of tape or what, but they missed this one for sure. But anyways, just going to continue on with the progress here. Just thought I'd share that. Alright, I'm just about done with the restoration of this 288 here. Just going to give you guys some updates. So I'm waiting on a few components to come in. They'll actually be in today. It's just some tantalum capacitors and that kind of stuff that I'm replacing these. I actually do replace them with the correct style capacitors. And that's because they have a better frequency response than electrolytics. So I replace them with tantalum caps. It prevents noise and bleed overs and that kind of stuff. Just waiting on a few of those to come in, and done full calibration, and just kind of playing it, seeing how everything sounds. And I ran into something. I'm going to just record this. That's why I'm making this video to add to the series here. Is we've got some issues. So as I play it, it sounds good. I'm on Voxhumana right now. I got the amp really cranked up, so hopefully you can hear this on camera. But Voxhumana works fine. You can set in preset 1. Scope is really clean here. There's Voxhumana. But I noticed that some presets have almost like a filter suite going on in it. Like for example, if we hit preset 3, you can see the scope gets really noisy, and you can hopefully hear that sound in the speaker. I don't know if you can or not. It's like a filter sweep. It's really high frequency, run at 10 kilohertz. But what we're looking at is we're actually looking at the brightness control node for your programming. So in the brightness control, we've got a hysteresis effect, or parasitic oscillation. And so that's what I've got to troubleshoot out. I already kind of know what it is, so I'm just going to address it. But just want to document this. I thought this would be kind of cool to show you some of the steps that happen even after the restoration. I'm going through all the testing. I do a lot of sound testing, just listening to make sure things sound right as well. And this is where I caught this. I knew something didn't sound right, and I traced it down through just taking some readings across the programming and across the reference oscillators and that kind of stuff, and I traced it down to the brightness control. So that's what's going on. But some presets, like I say, are better than others. So I can go to some of these presets, like 8 for example. It cleans up. It's there. Not as bad. I think 12 is pretty bad. But it's pretty odd. Some of them are better than others. You can see the amplitude change a little bit between some of the presets just because the programming node is different. But you go back to Voxhumana, it cleans right up. So that's what I'm troubleshooting here now. But just want to document that. I thought you guys would like to see some of the steps that goes into, making sure these things are right as well, even after restoration. So still addressing a few little things that it has going on with it. Alright, this Polymoog is all complete now. I fixed the hysteresis issue with the brightness control, and I got the last few components in and from shipping. Got those installed. 12-hour burn-in, full calibration, and this thing's really happy. And so I know you're going to be really happy with it here as well, Scott. It's a really beautiful instrument. But just kind of walk you down the front here. As you saw earlier, rebuilt the key bed. Fixed all the notes that were noisy, replaced that one key that was all melted. And actually what I found out somebody had done was used a glue that the plastic did not like. It was reactive to the plastic, and it melted it from the inside out. So that's why it looked like it did. But replaced that key that was all melted and messed up. Fixed all the weights that came loose, and so this keyboard is no longer clanky or noisy. Repainted the chrome on the master voice selector panel there, so it's all re-chromed. Your pitch ribbon was in really good shape. Now somebody has already gone through this thing, and I didn't want to really reopen it up based off how they had put it back together because I risked damaging it, and it does work too well to take apart to really do my magic on. So I just left it alone. It's fine. It's got a little bit of wear on the tape, but not bad at all. So just want to leave that just like it was there. But just cleaned everything up, detailed everything, conditioned the plastics all here on back here. And so you can kind of see the back panel here. This is all your outputs. Now this is a little bit different than a 203A. And the point is you don't have all the outputs because you don't have the resonator, the VCF, all that stuff. So you're kind of limited to what you have. But they also changed some designs of some stuff. So you got your keyboard S-trigger output here. So this is how you can trigger like a Mini-Moog, etc. with the Polymoog. Your keyboard output is a little bit different. So what they do, they actually give you a range and scale, and that allows you to actually range and scale the keyboard here. So on a typical Polymoog, you hit the lowest, or you hit the E note, and you hit the E note reference on your Mini-Moog, or your whatever synth you're slaving to this, and you just adjust your fine tune of your Mini-Moog to match the low key. In this one, it's actually got the range. So you hit the low note and use this range to set your low note of your Mini-Moog or a slave synth, and then you scale it with this knob here. When you hit the higher note, you scale it. So that's kind of how they work on this one. A little bit different. And then you actually got glide back here. So instead of having that external glide slider on the front, they just give you a knob on the back here for your glide. And you got your same kind of, pedal setup, so your mod mount, all that kind of stuff that you find on 203A. But your outputs, you're just limited to direct output, main output, which main output is the fixed filters. So that's where you just hear just a simulation filter of the preset. And then we got a bass output, which I don't have hooked up here. But basically what it is you got a little, basically one section of a resonator that focuses just on the bass. And when you turn it on, your main output actually already has bass out combined with it. So you'll kind of hear that. So that's how I'm demoing it like that. But just cleaned everything up really good. New hardware. I put you in some new black chromate screws to match the rest of the unit. So they all look really nice and neat there. Serial number is 1126. So that is your serial number, Scott. And that's actually the 126 Polymoog 288 build. So now these came out a lot later than 203A. This is from around 1978 is when they actually started production. So this is around 78 is when this was actually made. They were prototyping these in 77, 76 I believe. So they didn't hit the market though till 78. I just cleaned everything up really good there, as you can see. Just looks really good all the way around. And now I'm going to put my camera on the tripod here, and I'll make you a sound demo. Alright, so anyways, we'll start here just by going over what this unit offers here. So the key thing to remember between the 203A and 280A is that the 280A is a preset machine. So you lose all the variable controls and programming, such as the wave shape control, the frequency modulation, the pulse width, the pulse control. You lose all that. It's pretty much all strictly programmed, so they're set up for the preset. So you lose some of the programmability like you find on the actual 203A synthesizer. With that said, they give you more presets. So where the 203A only has 8 presets, you've now got 14 presets. And they are better presets. They sound a lot better than the 203A. So you do have that advantage. If you are into presets rather than programming, this is the one you'd want. If you're into synthesizers though and really getting in, down and dirty into programming, you'll want the 203A. But anyways, what this thing offers, we'll start over here on the left-hand control over here. So you got your fine-tune and beat, which the beat, for those that don't know, is just a detuning of the oscillators, which is where you're actually looking at the phase. So as these things phase, the more they phase, the more the beat you have. So it's just phase, and that's what the LED represents here, flashing, is the phasing of the two oscillators. The next control we have is this volume control here. And as you can see, I've got it turned all the way down. This is actually for your main output. Now your main output, this creates a lot of confusion if you have a 203A and you have a 280A as well, because the main output is the same thing as the mode output on a 203A. So this would be like your mode volume slider, which the mode is actually the fixed filters to simulate what the instruments are they're making in the presets. So it's just a fixed filter. The next group of sliders we have here is the octave balance, which is exactly what you find on a 203A. It allows you to control the volume of the low, medium, and high range of the keyboard, so you can actually adjust your volume overall. So you can make your low end higher volume than your upper, for example. So kind of a handy little mixer there. The next section we have here is the bass filter. And basically what it is, it's just a filter with a level and cutoff frequency response for a sub bass. So actually you can get into almost like subwoofer level basses. So it's a pretty cool little filter. But it only works with your low octave. So when it's engaged, you actually lose your low octave for your main output, and it becomes the bass filter output. And you've also got a dedicated jack on the back that works just for the bass filter. So if you were to pan that some way, you could have it in a mix and pan your bass filter off, or even send it to a sub mix for, you know, subwoofer kind of stuff. So you can have a lot of fun with that bass filter. The modulation, this actually has the rate and amount. Now, once again, based on what preset you're in, this kind of limits what you have control over. So for some presets, it controls the frequency modulation of one of the oscillators. Some presets you have control over the rate of the LFO. Others, the rate doesn't do anything. All you have is controls of mount. So once again, it kind of limits to what you can control. Then we got the loudness attack. So this is for your loudness control, and it's just your attack. So you can adjust how fast you want the note to come in or how soft it is. But once again, some presets this slider does nothing. So it's all based off programming of your presets. So anyways, Vox Humana. You pretty much can't think of a 288 Polymoog without thinking of Gary Newman. And because that's just what this thing's known for, is that Vox Humana preset. But so here's some Gary Newman. So that's some Gary Newman. You can also hear the dynamics of this preset. So if I hit a key harder, which that brings into another Gary Newman song. So as you can hear it's Gary Newman pretty much. What we also got too is we got the pitch ribbon, which you've already heard, but we'll go. Some more Gary Newman there. But the ribbon, it works really good. I'll show you both ranges. So this is the negative. See how great that works? But that's Vox Humana. That's the famous preset that these are really known for. Besides Gary Newman, Visage, Fade to Gray, the song Fade to Gray, you hear this exact preset. But we can actually modify it too. So as you heard the dynamics, so we can modify the modulation. Now this is controlling one frequency modulation of one of the oscillators. So if we put a tack on that, you can actually get some pretty nice piano kind of. We can control the frequency modulation amount. As well as the rate. We can control the attack. See here, you get some really nice variations there out of the preset. Of course, you go back to preset on these buttons, variation pre. Now we're back in the factory preset there. So that's preset 1. Then we got strings. So we got the modulation control. I think this one only controls the amount. You don't have any rate control. You can see rate does nothing there. Attack may work. It does work. And once again, based on the design of the contour generator of the Polymoog, you will hear volume decreases as you adjust the attack, as you can see. It's just the way the contour generator works in these. So that's preset 2. Preset 3, this is strings 2. Another Gary Newman sound. Once again, all you got control over is amount. You can see there, I don't know if attack does anything or not. It does, it gives you a soft attack or a hard attack. So that's preset 3. Preset 4 is electric piano. And I'm going to show on this preset here that all the keys work. So there's all 71 keys. We'll see what modulation does here. So this is actually controlling the pulse width amount with a frequency modulation as well. And oscillators are both locked together in this case. In the lock-free mode that you see on the 203A, it's all programmed, so it's actually locked the oscillators. So there's 4, I don't know if attack works. Yeah, see, attack doesn't do anything. And then we got 5 piano. Compared to 4. You hear different pulse width. Modulation. So this is combined frequency modulation. The attack, let's see if attack does anything. The attack does not work. Then we got honky tonk piano, which is basically just a piano out of tune on the 2 oscillators. Now, one guy that comes to mind on this preset is actually Keith Emerson. This is a very Keith Emerson-ish. course, you have to excuse my playing. But we should have, I don't know if we have any modulation control or not. We do, we have one frequency modulation. Once again, attack does nothing. Then we got clavichord. So modulation, we have one frequency modulation. We do have rate and amount. Attack, no attack. So that's preset 7. Here's preset 8, harpsichord. Modulations. We do have a frequency modulation with amount of rate. Attack, no attack response. Then we got brass. This is preset 9. No modulation control whatsoever. Take that back, we do have a little bit. Yeah, it's frequency modulation for preset 9. It just has a very limited amount. So that's your modulation. Attack. We do have attack. So that's preset 9. Here's preset 10, which is a brass chorus. And that's controlling the pulse width. Pulse width modulation. Attack. We do have attack control. So that's preset 10. Here's pipe organ, which is preset 11. So it's got an oscillator set to 16 footage to the programming. Modulation. And a lot of these presets sound really good, especially when you add a little reverb to them. They really come alive. Because right now you're just hearing it in a dry mix. We do have rate control. Attack. We do have attack. So that's preset 11. Then we got preset 12, which is rock organ. And this actually got an oscillator, I believe, set to a 5th. Has a pulse width modulation with the rate and amount control. So that's preset 12. Here's preset 13, which is vibes. Now this is typically the preset I change in a 203A to have Vox-Humana. And vibes is preset 7 on the 203A. Excuse me. Vibes is preset 7 on the 203A, but this is what it sounds like on the... It's just a real simple preset. It's really just a square wave with a little modulation. We have control over frequency modulation, as well as amount. No attack control. So that's preset 13, and then 14 is a pretty good one. This is called Funk. So it has frequency modulation for modulation source with rate and amount. Attack doesn't work on this preset. And that's your presets. So now what I'm going to turn down I'm actually going to mute our I'll mute our direct output. Now we're in main output. I'll bring up the volume here. So now we're through the fixed filters, and now this is kind of rare. You don't hear these fixed filters very often in recordings, because most everybody went direct output, just because it's the way you do these Polymoogs typically. But now you can hear that fixed filter. So that's preset 1, we got preset 2. Preset 3, strings, 2. We got electric piano. So it's a pretty good preset there. We got preset 5 piano. I think it's the same filter. It's the same filter just with a different pulse width once again. So it gives you different flavor. We got honky tonk piano. We'll bring it down just a hair. There we go. I'll go back over these. That might have been distorted a little bit. I just looked at my mix. I realized it was really hot. That's preset 4. Once again, 5. Same filter, just different preset for pulse width. And then we've got clavichord. Then we've got harpsichord. Now these next two presets are the ones you actually hear the VCF on. And like I say, you don't have any control over emphasis or cutoff unless you have the poly pedal hooked up. But it's got a fixed envelope, so it's just a little kind of slow attack with a little decay time. So that's your preset 9, and then also 10 has the same filter, but a little different synthesizer setup. So it's got pulse width modulation now. So that's preset 10. Preset 11 is pipe organs. And then we got rock organ. Then we got vibes. And then we got funk. But what we can do, it makes it really fun, is we'll take that output and we're actually going to go to the mixer and turn our directs back out, or back on. I'm going to pan the mode filters, our main output, just a hair, and put a little reverb on it. And it's amazing what this does for your sound. So this should really liven up the sound. So now you're going to hear the direct output with the fixed filters panned a little bit to the right, and a little bit of reverb on the fixed filters, and you get something like this. So that's just our direct output. See how much that livens this thing up. Then we got strings. Here's strings 2. Once again, direct output. Got reverb down just a hair there. We got then we got honky tonk piano. Here's just direct output. Clavichord. And then we got harpsichord. Then we got brass. So you can hear that filter effect. And then we got brass chorus. So that's the 2 presets that use the filter, the actual VCF. Pipe organ. And then we got rock organ. Vibes. There's our direct out. and then funk. And that's the Polymoog 288. One last thing I did almost forget to show you is actually the bass filter here. So we'll go to preset 1 here, and I'm going to show you how this works. So right now we got the bass filter still off, so you can hear the normal main output. This is through the fixed filters. But you can hear your low end. We'll activate the bass filter. Now you hear that you've lost your low end. So now we can bring up our level as well as our cutoff frequency, and you can hear this bass filter response. See, here we got a volume control. And for your keys past that point, so it actually ends with this D sharp. So here's E. Now you're back into the fixed filters. And now we can combine that once again with the direct output. And once again, that bass filter can hurt you, especially if you got a big amplifier, because it gets really deep in those low end frequencies. It basically works the same way for any preset. See here right there, the split point. Of course, we can take that back off on the direct output. So that's how the bass filter works. So anyways, I just want to take a minute here for you, Scott, just go over it, show you that everything's functioning, and just want to also give you guys another demo of these things. I know it's been a while since I have done a 288 demo like this, but anyways, I appreciate all you guys watching. Thanks again, Scott, for letting me restore this for you. And there'll be more videos to come here very soon. Take care.